Hello, welcome to the Fairy Whispering podcast. And with me today, I'm really happy to have Ragga, who's based in Iceland. And Ragga works with the elves and protecting their environment and the beautiful, fragile environment of the area of Iceland that she lives in. Welcome, Ragga.
I thank you for having me. So good to
Yeah,
see you.
yeah, it's lovely to meet you and chat with you. I saw your wonderful documentary film, which I'm sure you'll share about with us. And I was so moved by it. And so I'm looking forward to you sharing your work with the audience here. And yeah, so
Thank
how
you.
did how did your connection with elves start? Or when?
I don't remember anything else. I mean, I've
Mm,
always had friends in the elf world, angels, talking to my deceased grandparents, um, and I thought that was normal. And yeah, I should say I also had human friends. So um, and my parents, they told me later that they just decided that I was too young uh, to make up stories like this. So they just allowed me to have these friends without saying anything about it, not saying no, not encouraging anything, just listening with care. And I'm always grateful for that. And yeah, so I've always had friends. My oldest friend is Pulta. Uh, she lives in the elf world. She's what we call Huldufólk,
mhm.
hidden people. So we are still friends, 60 something years later.
I'm really interested to hear about what the hidden people, the elves, what they look like, how they appear to you.
Yeah. Huldufólk are very similar to us humans in appearance and in size. They really are like, yeah, like we say, Huldufólk, they're folk of other dimension, but they live in what we could call elf world. They are not deceased humans. They are not angels. They are a special species. Um, they are very similar to us in many ways. They're different kinds of jobs. They have families. They are born and they live and they die. And my friend Pulta has grandchildren like I do, and we exchange stories of our grandkids,
Oh,
like other grandmas do.
that's
Um, and yeah, and then there are elves. I just don't know how many species. There are many different species that in Iceland we call álfar. I've seen them also in other countries.
mm,
Uh, they look different depending on um, the nature they live in.
I
And
see.
yeah, so and then there are flower fairies and tree fairies, and each species of plant has their own species of a flower or tree fairy.
Mm.
So I just love going into parks with different types of plants, and it's like, wow, there's so many different types of beings. In Iceland, most of the beings live in rocks and mountains.
Mhm.
Probably,
Oh, frozen.
I think we lost contact. Oh,
Yes, he
okay.
froze
I'm
when
sorry.
just when you started talking about them living in rocks.
Yeah.
Yeah, mountains.
In Iceland, most of the beings, we have dwarves and elves and Huldufólk and tröll. those are giants living in the mountains. They live in mountains, and there are species in the rocks. Some prefer older rocks. Some prefer not new lava, of course, but maybe just only 1,000 years old or and older.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's mainly because we don't have that many woods or that many trees. So we have the species that like living in rocks. But since we have started planting trees here, we get to see all kinds of wood fairies and tree fairies too, which is nice.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, I'm just thinking about the sightings of fairies in this country, and on Dartmoor. I live near Dartmoor, which is a big wild space in the southwest of England. And the pixies, some people have had sightings of them being around rocks, or emerging from rocks. So it's
Yeah,
interesting that it's the
yeah,
same sort of thing where you are in
yeah,
Iceland.
exactly.
Yeah.
We just have different words for the beings. I mean, of course, with different languages and where we come from, it's not like they have a name tag, so you
Yes,
just
no.
just have to make
So,
up a word for them.
yeah, so I didn't realize that the hidden folk and the elves were two different types of fairy. So,
Yeah.
yeah, so do you feel a connection more with the hidden folk than the elves, or both? Um,
I I guess I'm a curious person,
yeah.
so I like to have all the different species around me. And where I live now, there's my old childhood friend Pultasi moved here at the same time to this area.
Mm.
There's a skessa, a trell, a giant living in the mountain close by. She's a good friend.
Oh,
And there are Huldufólk family farmers
mm,
live on my little plot of land, and there's an elf family who's lived here, uh, the same family for centuries.
mm.
um, and there's a dragon friend, and down at the beach are what I call beach dwarfs.
Oh,
I
wow.
Not
Hmm.
too long ago, I found out that probably they're the same species as you would call a selkie.
Right.
I was so surprised. I was reading about all.
That's so
uh,
interesting. Mm.
yes, I was like, I just made up this name, beach dwarf.
Mhm.
Like I say, they don't have name tags. They have all kinds of different names for us humans too.
What do they call us?
Some would say, "Oh, those crazy people." So, some would say, the nice family in that house or something.
Yes.
So yeah, depends on how we behave.
Do you exchange gifts with your friends from the other world?
Yes,
Yeah.
they very much like honey. So
Mm.
I sometimes bring them organic wildflower honey that they cannot get here in Iceland. So with different tastes, it's like when someone brings something from another country, after traveling, and they love it. And we make honey tea. It's
Oh,
a dear friend, Frode, which you could see him. He's right here. Frode, he's a very old uh, elf. I call his type uh, tröllálfar. It's like, I don't know. He's you can see on his face that he has smiled for hundreds of years,
I
with the
see.
lines of
Lots of
Yeah, of
light.
age. Yeah, very kind, very wise.
Mm.
And his name is Frode. It's an old Nordic name, both in the elf world and human world. I think it's the same as Tolkien found and changed it to Frodo. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's just an old name. But Frode taught me how to make this honey tea, which is his
Mm.
favorite drink. Just a lot of honey and hot water.
That sounds lovely. Oh,
Yeah.
wow. And what do they bring you? So they bring you new ways of seeing things or new learnings. Um, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yes. They, yeah, teach me how to make this kind of tea. But also, some of them can see into the future. Not all of them. Some of them.
Mm.
So they tell me of something, warn me, or say it's gonna be okay. I see there is happiness ahead. Something like this. Um, but also, like Frode, he gave me a book. It's called "What Does It Take to See an Elf?"
Oh, that sounds lovely.
Yes,
Yeah.
one day he literally put me to sleep. So I slept for an hour or so and woke up with this whole book in my head and Frode and some friends of his standing in a circle around me. And they were chanting so that the words would stick uh, in my mind. So I
Yes.
sat up really hastily and started writing the whole thing down.
Ah,
And
that's
so, yeah, we printed it in the human world 2011. Yeah.
and can people order the book, Ragga? Or is it there?
Soon we
Mm.
are kind of reopening our Elf Garden online, and the website is in the making. It will soon be there, and then people can order the book again.
Oh, that'd be amazing. I'd be happy to share that with my fairy community. Yes, once
Thank you.
that's up and running.
Thank you.
Yeah. So is is this ability that you have to connect with these beings, does it come from your family, your grandparents, or did they connect with the hidden folk and the elves and other beings?
Um, no, not really, but they had this interest in, uh, you could say, all kinds of other worlds.
Mm.
uh, my grandmother, and in, it's just in the Icelandic nature, I
Mm.
think.
Mm.
Of course, half of the nation doesn't believe in elves and just, want to give me some pills or something. But I think that's something that everyone with this site has to experience.
Mm.
But most of the people here have this, okay, maybe. So it's, you know, yeah, it's a little bit in the family and it's a little bit everywhere. If you lose something at home and people would say, oh, the elves borrowed it, it
Mm.
will be here tomorrow. And it's not strange when it's there tomorrow. It's like a natural thing. My great grandma, she was very Christian, went to church every Sunday, but she said the Huldufólk borrowed her big scissors every now and then, and she knew it would come back. She wasn't worried. It's okay. We can share, you know. And it was not a big thing
Yeah,
somehow.
yeah, that's lovely that there's that mix of beliefs and that it's
Yeah.
so accepted. Um, yeah, what a wonderful environment to grow up in.
Yes, I was very blessed.
And of course, you're passing on this knowledge to your grandchildren now, which I was really heartened to see in the documentary film about how you were taking your grandchildren out into nature and teaching them about the fairies, as we call them here. Uh,
Yeah,
yes. So,
yeah, I think we today we're all over the world trying to be city people, Um,
mm,
and that's okay, but we can't forget the nature. And I think we need to, remind our children and grandchildren about that. They just love this. It's fun. When you look at a rock or you look at a tree, whether you believe or not, it's much more fun to think of a whole family maybe sitting inside this rock, having, dinner or singing or, weaving or spinning yarn.
mm,
So it's much more fun if people don't want to believe. It's at least
mm,
that.
mm. And I thought it was really interesting what you were saying about the elves standing around your bed chanting so that you wouldn't forget the story. And yeah, I was just wondering if you could say a little bit more about that. What were they? Do you mean it was like a song they were singing, or a harmony, or words?
Yeah. In this case, they were uh, chanting the words from the book, and
Mm-hmm.
it was like they were. Uh, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. They were just pushing it inside me. Maybe similar to if you say a prayer or a chant again and again and again. It just sticks with you. The meaning behind it, behind the words, and but all these beings that we call in Icelandic vættir, nature beings, they use song and
Mm-hmm.
chanting. They use song, music a whole lot. Um, it is kind of like magic.
Mm-hmm.
If you think about music, uh, we use different kinds of music for different occasions.
Mm-hmm.
You don't use the same kind of music when you want to dance and you can't sit still, you just have to dance, or when you want your little baby to go to sleep. It's a totally different kind of music. And so there is magic in music, in the tones and the words. But I've seen many different types of elves use this kind of magic um, with purpose, willingly. And that's kind of what they were doing
Yes.
and putting this magic on me so that I would remember this little book. It's in English on one side and Icelandic on the other side.
Oh, that's beautiful. And who did the illustrations, Ragga? There's really
And it's just, I
there's
don't know if you
such.
can see
Are,
it.
are these your drawings, or did someone else? They're your.
These are my drawings.
Oh, wow.
At this time, Frode didn't want me to make a picture of him
Mm.
because he said people were afraid of his look. He looks a bit like uh, a giant, rough
Uh-huh.
lines. He is beautiful, yeah. Uh, uh, he needs, yeah.
Yes.
But so he said, make a drawing of that little cute little guy in the next house.
Mm.
Um, but later, my daughter was allowed to make a picture of him when I had convinced him that he really looks beautiful. We don't all have to look the same.
Mm.
It's yeah. So I have a picture of him, uh,
Right. It'd be
what he looks
really,
like.
yeah, it'd be really interesting. Well, anything that I'm you're happy for me to share, then I can edit them into this video when I release it, before I release it. So I'd love to share your artwork so
Okay.
people can see some of these beings. It'd be amazing. I'm an artist and I've painted fairies that I've connected with. And there's one pixie that I connected with a few years ago. I call him Malachite because he communicated with me that he likes the green crystal malachite.
Yes, yes.
And it had a lot of meaning for me at the time.
Okay.
But he was quite scary looking, to us when I first drew him. Quite bright eyes, and very sort of wrinkled, big nose.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So just totally different to how a lot of people expect fairies to look.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Mhm.
They're not all cute Tinkerbells with wings,
No.
but also like that, but not so far from all. And
Mm.
yeah, so my daughter and I, we made a book with Huldufólk and Elves about several types of beings. We just sold out the book, but there are many pictures there of different types of beings. And sometimes we would say it's like they have their arms are too long, or too long for what? They say our arms are too short. We
Mhm.
just, yeah, don't have to look all the same. Like birds, there are so many different types of birds. So, yeah.
And you have a wonderful connection with the landscape, which you've connected with these wonderful beings and helped to preserve the places that they live. So I'm wondering if you could share that with my listeners that might not have seen the film that you were talking, this campaign, wonderful campaign that you've
Yeah.
spearheaded. Yeah. Mm.
Yeah. This film, it's a documentary, The SEER and the Unseen. And it's it's on YouTube. You can see it on YouTube. But there I was protesting a road through a lava field. And it began that many beings came to my house and just called me out to this lava field. I knew the field, but not in this actual place, but a different area of this lava field. So they asked me to come there and showed me where their sacred place is. In Iceland, there are many sacred places like that, and we call them Álfakirkja, like elf church.
Mm.
Uh, but the elves or the beings, they have many different types of uh, religion or faith. So, but maybe so that it would be left alone by the church, it was called Elf Church. um, but they asked me to protect this area, and I had no idea what they were talking about. But okay, what do you mean? So I Googled and tried to find out what is going on with this lava field, and found out that there was a road to be made through there. And so I contacted a group of environmental group and joined them when the protest began, when the bulldozers were coming in, and we went there every day, put up tents, and sat in front of where they were going to cut through the lava. And yeah, I was among 60 people that were arrested one morning. And when we were let loose, we went straight back to the lava field. And 9 of us were arrested again. And I was kind of, didn't want to speak to the elves. They did not warn me about this.
Mm.
They, when you think about it later, I was like a kid. Come on, you didn't tell me I would be arrested. But later, when thinking about it, if they had told me, I would not have been there to be arrested. So sometimes
Mm.
it just has to go like this. But it ended up so that the elf church was saved and
Mm.
the road narrowed, and it's I've been there many times since, and it's a beautiful place there, even though the darn road is through there. uh they protected the church and the whole
Mm.
sacred area.
That was a wonderful outcome, wasn't it? That was it. It was the mayor, wasn't it? The mayor of
Yeah, of Garðabær, the town.
yes.
Yes, Gunnar Einarsson.
Hmm.
It's like, I mean, he doesn't see elves, but his grandmother, and he was like, okay, tell me more about this.
Mm.
And they had some strange incidents also.
Oh
So he said, maybe you can't deny this. So he talked to more people, the road administration, and we managed to save this place. Usually, when I'm called, the elves call me somewhere, or humans call me because the elves are destroying some equipment or something. It's just much smaller thing. It could be a rock or trees in a garden where people are, gonna put in patio or a hot tub or something, um, and everything. Yeah, the machinery breaks, and when it happens many times, and it's kind of weird. Like this one time, I remember uh, it was quite funny. They called me, and they were shy. These big guys. They were kind of shy talking to me about, is it possible there are elves here?
mm.
Um, because a whole wall, concrete wall, just broke, and it wasn't supposed to be, able to do that. Just all
Mm.
of a sudden, just and yeah, so strange things like that. Usually smaller, but oh, of course, you mentioned the big things. Uh,
Yeah.
but
Yes.
often it's like an elf or Huldufólk appear in people's dreams
Mm.
and ask them to call someone that can translate between worlds.
Oh, how interesting. Yes.
So there are many different ways of how this works.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And yeah, it was in the news some years ago. A man called me and asked me to come and check uh, this rock or this boulder, because his car had uh, flipped off the road in bad weather
Gosh. Yeah.
and landed on the roof, but he was safe, totally safe, no harm. But he felt that there was his car stopped uh, right beside a boulder, and he was convinced it was the beings of this boulder that had done this. And it
It's,
was weird that he wasn't hurt at all.
gosh.
So he called me,
Mm.
and because he had found out this boulder would be destroyed for
Mm.
for a new road. And of course, there was a whole family, 3 generations of little elves, maybe
Oh.
yeah, maybe
Mm.
30 centimeters high, just small beings. And yeah, we saved that home. This
Oh.
man
Oh.
happened to be a former member of parliament. So people listened to him when he wanted to save this boulder. And he
Yeah.
I made a deal with the elves to move to Westman Islands. So it needed a huge truck and, all kinds of
Mm.
equipment to move that boulder on a ship and to this next island.
Oh, wow,
And
that's
the
amazing.
elves chose the place where they wanted to be. Uh,
Mm.
but in the garden where this man, Árni Jónsson was his name,
Mhm.
it was in his garden, but they said we want this side to uh, with the windows of our elf home to face the view. And when I got there, it was this beautiful view, so I was not surprised. And yeah, so no, we don't want the house here. It has to be here. There was all kinds of things that we did for them. It was fun. They wanted to have sheep and yeah, horses, little elf sheep and elf horses.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, there
Yes.
are farm animals of many sizes in the elf world.
Oh, so depending on the size of the being,
Yeah.
that's how big the animals are. Because I know in fairy sighting records from England that I've read, people have actually seen these small horses.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
or tiny. I think there's a sighting with a tiny cat someone saw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They love cats. Also, the cats in our world, yeah, play together. And there are also dragons of different sizes and unicorns, and so
Mm.
it's fun. And dogs, wolves, yeah, wolf dogs, something like that.
So when when the elves or whichever being you're helping have been moved, do you hear from them again? Do they um, carry on communicating with you afterwards? Like such as the elf church when that was moved. Did those beings say anything about whether they were happy with what happened or give any
Yes,
message? Yeah.
often they communicate again. It's like with humans. Some are, more likely to be in touch than others. Just
Mhm.
depending on the characters. But like with the elf church, I've often been there since, and it's beautiful energy. I just had to check and see,
Mm.
if the energy stayed there, and it's beautiful, and they were happy.
Mhm.
Yeah, so and in many different places, it's like they call me to come and see, or the humans in the areas call me and say, I had this dream about the Álfakirkjan and they want me to say that they're fine, something like
Mm.
that.
Mhm.
So yeah, it works.
Amazing. So, how does what I'm really interested in, because fairies or my connection with nature and fairies has really helped my well-being, excuse me, over the years since I've really been connecting with them. And I always like to ask people about how their fairy connection has helped them, either through something in their life that's improved or their health that's improved. Is that something that you've noticed since you've had this connection? These
It's
beings?
like with friendship. If
Yeah,
it's warm and nice, it's always healing, no
yes.
matter what the species.
Uh-huh.
Uh, and also, sometimes some of them, like this medicine woman, she gives me recipes for healing tea,
Mm.
different types depending on what's going on. And also, we can help the beings by not using any pesticides,
Mm.
with protecting their areas. And even, if we have plants in our homes, in our living rooms. It's like on some deep level, people know that they need nature in their houses. So they have plants or, and cats or birds or something. And all of these types of life, we need each other. We need the energy from each other. And I think it's mostly like that we can help each other,
Yes.
no matter what the dimension or species.
Yeah, that's a really lovely way of looking at it, that the right friendships and connections are healing for us, and it doesn't really matter who it's with.
Exactly.
Or where they are, or yeah, I love that viewpoint. I've never really thought of it like that. Um, I know that it brings me a lot of happiness to have this connection or open-mindedness about there being more than us,
Yeah,
sharing this beautiful earth. Yes.
exactly. Yeah.
Mm.
And you're never alone.
No, never alone. And my cat Missy is with me. She's on my bed behind me. I'm recording this in my bedroom, and she's always, whenever I'm recording these, she likes to be around. So she's,
Exactly.
yeah, bless her. Um,
Yeah.
and do the elves have, or any of the fairies that you connect with, do they have a message for people, for humans? That is there something that they want to share with us?
Maybe a little bit from the book.
Yeah, that'd be wonderful.
Um, Frode wrote this book because he wants to be in touch with humans again,
Mm-hmm.
and for humans to be in touch with the elf world. And he says that our lives and evolution are connected. We are all one family, made from the same elements of earth and spirit. We elves want to be in closer touch with you humans. We miss you like you miss us.
Oh,
So simple, but there's such deep truth in this. It's
mm,
yeah,
mm,
there is
definitely.
something in us. I think that most people miss this connection, whether it's
Yes.
with elves or angels or whoever. Yeah, and they work together, the elves and angels. So
Yeah. Oh, do they?
yeah, in
Oh,
many places you can see
mm,
them together. Yeah.
mm. Oh, that's so wonderful. I really enjoyed speaking with you, Ragga. But is there a special place to you that you feel? I know there's many places that you work with and connect with, but what's your sort of most special place for you that you go to and always feel a sense of peace and connection and yeah.
There, wherever I have lived or we have lived, there is always a place nearby or in the garden, a big
Yeah.
tree where we lived for years. I called the tree my church, and the birds were the choir. It's the energy. And where we live now, we had stones put down in the direction, north, south, and east and
Mm.
west, and planted trees around it. And we call it our grove, our sacred grove, like with the druids. But the trees are maybe half a meter high, but doesn't matter. Takes time to grow. We just
Yes. Yeah.
go into the future and see the trees bigger. That's a
Mm.
good place for me to go now. I see it from here. But it's really also to go to places I've never been to before and just see what is there, you know. Um, And I really like places where many species are together,
Mm.
trees and flowers and birds and, cats and dogs or reindeer or whatever. Just different species. It's nice.
Yes.
And to see what is there.
Mm,
It's
yeah.
always something new. The curious thing in me. It's always trying to see something new.
Yeah. I love that too. I love finding new woodlands to go to or places nearby that I think, oh, I wonder what that is like, and to go there and instantly get some sort of feeling about the place and who lives there, or maybe some of the history.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, so
exactly.
fascinating. Yeah,
Yeah. So
yes.
it does, and for people in big cities, it's not like big cities are bad.
Mm,
There are always parks, there are always little gardens, or even a balcony. You can you can always find some part of nature somewhere and just be there, be with it. Find the friendship in the plant.
yes, and yeah, that's lovely. What would you say to people listening that maybe you haven't, that are interested in fairies, but maybe you haven't connected with them? What would you say is the best way for someone to connect with the elves and other fairies?
Yeah. Find a place that you like. Sometimes there is something deeper behind liking something.
Mm,
Uh, and just sit there, close your eyes, and listen. And I sometimes explain to people to listen with their heart,
mm,
not think about the bird songs or the ears. Just listen with your heart, and then you might see something. It doesn't sound logical, but I don't think they teach this in school, but
mm.
it works.
Yes, yeah, I totally agree with that. It is about heart connection, isn't it? And it's the lighter our hearts can be as well. I mean, that's nature helps us with that, doesn't it? Helps to lighten the heart, lighten the load, worries in our lives, and to be quiet and peaceful. And that's when we can tune into our heart
Yeah,
and connect that way. Um, Definitely, I've always felt that fairy connection is heart-based rather
yeah,
than, you know,
yeah.
through the
Then
mind.
we, use our mind logic
Yes.
to see, was this real or was this imagination? But sometimes, especially when people are starting out, to
Mm,
see what they see, don't think about that too much.
mm,
Find your inner child. They don't think with their logical mind.
no.
If you open up uh, your heart into the inner child and listen from there, it's
Mm,
and just think about it. What do we care if it's uh, imagination or not? Especially, like I say, when you're beginning to feel this, you will know, afterwards, yeah, this was beyond imagination. You just
mm,
know. So trust it. I think that's the main thing. We are taught to not trust, but
yes.
this is a good thing to trust. I mean, good beings, happy elves, they're such good friends to have.
Mm, that's a lovely note to end our talk on. Unless there's anything else you want to share, Ragga.
No, just thank you for what you're doing. It's
Oh,
beautiful.
oh, thank you. Well, thank you. I mean, I'm so inspired by your work, Ragga, and I will share the link to the film and any other links that you have. How can people connect with your work? Is there any way that they can connect with you? And
yeah, I have this Facebook page. I'm not doing much lately there on the Elf Gardens Facebook page, but I'll send it to you anyway. And yes, and the film. But we are working on starting this again, so I just had to rest for a few years.
well, we have to, don't we?
Yeah,
Sometimes, you can't be always, present. We have to sort of have some time to refill our own cups. So totally understand that.
yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Yeah. Thank you ever so much, and have a wonderful day. And how do you say goodbye in your language, Icelandic?
Usually we say bless, bless.
Bless, bless.
Bless, bless. Yeah.
Bless, bless. Bless, bless, Ragga.
Bless, bless.
Thank you.
Claire. Yeah.